So today we will discuss about the how basically our breathing mechanism is controlled. So the topic is controlling of the breathing mechanism, right? Actually, physiologically, physiologically, this breathing mechanism is involuntary. Like physiologically, it is involuntary process, right? This breathing mechanism, like do we ever think like we have to breathe? No, right? It's involuntary, we don't have to think about this. So that's why physiologically it is an involuntary process. But sometimes for a very short duration, like for very short duration, this process becomes voluntary. Like you will be wondering that when does it become actually voluntary? So basically when you have to take a deep breath, during deep breath, obviously, or while swimming. Okay, when you go inside the water, you have to actually hold your breath for a few seconds. Or even though there are some people uh, who are quite in practice of doing this, they can hold their breath for 1 minute. So that's not involuntary process, that's voluntary. It depends upon your will. So basically for very short duration, for few seconds, or you can say for like in many in people who are quite experienced athletics, they can hold their breath up to 1 minute too. So that's why this is for just a short period. This process, this breathing mechanism actually becomes voluntary, right? If we talk about that, how it is being controlled, basically it is, this process is controlled by two mutually associated systems. Like it is basically breathing mechanism is controlled and mutually associated with respiratory system, with our respiratory system, plus our cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system. So basically this process is mutually associated. Mutually associated with these both systems. Now you'll be wondering that, yeah, we know that this respiratory system is how this is basically associated. Now you'll be wondering that how this cardiovascular system is associated. Actually, like we know that lungs are being used in the process of inspiration, expiration, so you can easily understand that respiratory system is utilized in this. Okay, the thing is about the cardiovascular system. You just wait for 1 minute. I'll be discussing that in my video. Okay, so the next thing is that in our body we have a respiratory station. We have a respiratory station, which is basically our medulla oblongata, right, which is the particular part of the brain. It is involved, like it basically generates response. In order to give the response, this medulla oblongata is responsible, right? So we'll be discussing that too. Let's see that how now this cardiovascular system is involved in this. We consider that here we have this is our heart, right, and this is our heart. Okay, we know that in heart, like aorta begins from the heart, right? What is the function of aorta? Aorta carries the oxygenated blood and then it bifurcates. Like this is, I know my drawing is not very good, but in order to understand the concept, you have to tolerate this now. This is aorta, and we know the aorta, this is basically a vessel which contains the oxygenated blood, and it provides blood to the whole body, right? This is aorta. So in the aorta we have aortic bodies, aortic bodies, or you can say body. Okay, as I said, this basically this aorta divide into many branches, right? It also bifurcates. Actually, this aorta bifurcates into two carotid arc. Like one of the branch is carotid arc. We have studied this in the circulation chapter. Basically, this is the carotid arc. This is carotid arc. Now, what is the function of carotid arc? Just recall it. Basically, the function of this carotid arc is to supply the oxygenated blood to your head, to your brain. Supply oxygenated blood. Blood to what? To basically head, or you can say to brain. What is the function of the carotid arc? It basically supplies oxygenated blood to your head, to your brain, right? Now, basically we have two carotid arc. This is one, this is left side one, and we have another. This is also the carotid arc. Basically, in the carotid arc, we have carotid bodies. I know it's becoming quite messy, but I'll make you understand this. We have carotid body. Here in the left carotid arc, there's a carotid body, and the right carotid arc, we have a carotid body as well. Right? Now, let's discuss. So, basically, let's sum up this. We have two carotid body and one aortic body. Now you will be wondering that what are basically these I'm just talking about, right? Basically these are chemoreceptors. These are chemoreceptors which detect the concentration. Basically they detect concentration of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. Right, it detects the concentration of carbon dioxide and the hydrogen ions in the blood in the body. So basically this is the work of the chemoreceptors. Why these chemoreceptors are in the aorta and in the carotid arc? Because obviously you can see that these branches contain oxygenated blood, right? So in order to determine the concentration of carbon dioxide, concentration of H plus ions in the blood, these three chemoreceptors are present, right? Okay, this is how you know that how the cardiovascular system is being mutually associated with your respiratory system in order to control your breath, in order to control your breathing mechanism, right? Okay, consider we have first condition, which is like, let's talk about conditions now. We have basically two conditions. Like, there are a lot of, but we will talk about only two. Like, we are restricted to only two. What if you are doing a exercise? If you're doing exercise, it means your metabolic rate is very high, right? Your metabolic rate is very high, right? It means that the level of carbon dioxide and the level of hydrogen ions is very high in your body. It is very high. So this concentration, this high concentration will be detected by the chemoreceptors. This chemoreceptor will basically detect it, right? And they will basically generate stimuli. Like these, what is the work of these chemoreceptors? That they have to basically you can say they have to detect the concentration of carbon dioxide and hydrogen. We are in a exercising state where metabolic rate is very high. It means the concentration of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion is very high. So what will happen? The chemoreceptors will basically detect this high concentration, and they will generate a stimuli. Now this this stimuli which is generated will move to your respiratory system. Basically you can say respiratory station, which is medulla oblongata, right? Now it will move to medulla oblongata. Now this medulla oblongata basically will generate response. It will generate the response. What response it will be? That it will basically give a command to the, we have given a respiratory system. We have studied about intercostal nerve, which is connected to your intercostal muscles, and the phrenic nerve, which is basically between your diaphragm and your rib cage. So basically what happens in inspiration, we all know, right? Your intercostal muscles, so basically external intercostal muscles and your diaphragm contract. So we want that these intercostal muscles and your diaphragm should contract. So like which nerve will be responsible for that? Obviously the intercostal nerve. We have intercostal nerve and your phrenic nerve. Now this intercostal nerve and the phrenic nerve will give command to your intercostal muscles, and your phrenic muscles. It will give command to intercostal muscles and phrenic muscles that they should start contraction and relaxation. That there should be increase in contraction and relaxation. There should be increase in contraction and relaxation, right? Basically there will be more contraction. Now let's sum up this. There was an exercise condition. Your metabolic rate was very high. The carbon dioxide level and the hydrogen ion concentration was very high in your blood. The chemoreceptors which were present in the aortic body, which were present in your aorta and the carotid are detected it, and it basically generated the stimuli. The stimuli went to the medulla oblongata, which is a respiratory station. That respiratory station basically generated a response. That response went to your intercostal nerve and phrenic nerve, and what they did, they basically asked the muscles to contract. This nerve is connected to basically your intercostal muscles and phrenic muscles, and the command was being given to the muscles that they should increase the contraction or relaxation. Basically the more contraction, if there will be more contraction, it means the process of inspiration will increase. When the process of inspiration will increase, the carbon dioxide, the high level of carbon dioxide which is present in your body will be moved out, right? So this is how this mechanism is being controlled by all these systems. Basically I would say that it is controlled by 4 systems. We have respiratory system, we have cardiovascular system, we have nervous system as well, like autonomic nervous system, medulla oblongata. It basically belongs to the autonomous nervous system, even though your muscular system is also involved in this process. So I would say that there are 4 systems which are involved in this, but in many books it is written that it is mutually associated between 2 systems, right? Okay, let's study another case which is quite easy. I won't take your lot time. Okay, second case, which is basically when it's your resting condition, when you are in a resting condition. Basically in resting condition, it means your metabolic rate is very low. Like while you are sleeping, your metabolic rate is very low. Now what will happen? It means when your metabolic rate is very low, it means there is a low concentration of carbon dioxide and H ions. There is a low concentration of carbon dioxide and H ions. Now this will be detected by chemoreceptors, detected detected by chemoreceptors. This will be detected by the chemoreceptors. Now basically this they will obviously generate the stimuli and will go to the medulla oblongata, right? This medulla oblongata basically generate a response. It will generate response and it will generate response and it will give that command to your phrenic nerve and your intercostal